Hello and welcome to QSE Academy. Welcome to the Part 2 of the ISO 17025 2017 version presentation. Let's continue with the Chapter 7, Process Requirements. 7.1, Review of Requests, Tenders, and Contracts. The laboratory shall have a procedure for the review of requests, tenders, and contracts. The procedure shall ensure that the requirements are adequately defined, documented, and understood. The laboratory has the capability and resources to meet the requirements. Where external providers are used, the requirements of 6.6 are applied and the laboratory advises the customer of the specific laboratory activities to be performed by the external provider and gains the customer's approval. It is recognized that externally provided laboratory activities can occur when the laboratory has the resources and competence to perform the activities. However, for unforeseen reasons, is unable to undertake these in part or full. The laboratory does not have the resources or competence to perform the activities. The appropriate methods or procedures are selected and are capable of meeting the customer's requirements. For internal or routine customers, reviews of requests, tenders, and contracts can be performed in a simplified way. 7.2. Selection, verification, and validation of methods. 7.2.1. Selection and verification of methods. The laboratory shall use appropriate methods and procedures for all laboratory activities, and, where appropriate, for evaluation of the measurement uncertainty as well as statistical techniques for analysis of data. Note, method as used in this document can be considered synonymous with the term measurement procedure as defined in ISO/IEC Guide 99. All methods, procedures, and supporting documentation such as instructions, standards, manuals, and reference data relevant to the laboratory activities shall be kept up to date and shall be made readily available to personnel. See 8.3. The laboratory shall ensure that it uses the latest valid version of a method unless it is not appropriate or possible to do so. When necessary, the application of the method shall be supplemented with additional details to ensure consistent application. 7.2.2 Validation of methods. The laboratory shall validate non-standard methods, laboratory developed methods, and standard methods used outside their intended scope or otherwise modified. The validation shall be as extensive as is necessary to meet the needs of the given application or field of application. Note 1. Validation can include procedures for sampling, handling, and transportation of test or calibration items. Note 2. The techniques used for method validation can be one of, or a combination of, the following: calibration or evaluation of bias and precision using reference standards or reference materials. A. The validation procedure used. B. Systematic assessment of the factors influencing the result. C. Testing method robustness through variation of controlled parameters such as incubator temperature, volume dispensed. D. Comparison of results achieved with other validated methods. E. Inter-laboratory comparisons. F. Evaluation of measurement uncertainty of the results based on an understanding of the theoretical principles of the method and practical experience of the performance of the sampling or test method. 7.3. Sampling. The laboratory shall have a sampling plan and method when it carries out sampling of substances, materials, or products for subsequent testing or calibration. The sampling method shall address the factors to be controlled to ensure the validity of subsequent testing or calibration. 7.4. Handling of test or calibration items. 1. The laboratory shall have a procedure for the transportation, receipt, handling, protection, storage, retention, and disposal or return of test or calibration items, including all provisions necessary to protect the integrity of the test or calibration item, and to protect the interests of the laboratory and the customer. Precautions shall be taken to avoid deterioration, contamination, loss, or damage to the item during handling, transporting, storing/waiting, and preparation for testing or calibration. Handling instructions provided with the item shall be followed. 2. The laboratory shall have a system for the unambiguous identification of test or calibration items. The identification shall be retained while the item is under the responsibility of the laboratory. 7.5. Technical records. The laboratory shall ensure that technical records for each laboratory activity contain the results, report, and sufficient information to facilitate, if possible, identification of factors affecting the measurement result and its associated measurement uncertainty, and enable the repetition of the laboratory activity under conditions as close as possible to the original. The technical records shall include the date and the identity of the personnel responsible for each laboratory activity and for checking data and results. 7.6. Evaluation of measurement and uncertainty. Laboratories shall identify the contributions to measurement uncertainty. When evaluating measurement uncertainty, all contributions that are of significance, including those arising from sampling, shall be taken into account using appropriate methods of analysis. 7.7. Ensuring the validity of results. The laboratory shall have a procedure where appropriate, but not be limited to: use of reference materials or quality control materials, use of alternative instrumentation that has been calibrated to provide traceable results, functional checks of measuring and testing equipment, use of check or working standards with control charts, where applicable, intermediate checks on measuring equipment, replicate tests or calibrations using the same or different methods, retesting or recalibration of retained items, correlation of results for different characteristics of an item, review of reported results, intra-laboratory comparisons, testing of blind samples. 7.8. Reporting of results. Common requirements for reports, test, calibration, or sampling. Each report shall include at least the following information, unless the laboratory has valid reasons for not doing so, thereby minimizing any possibility of misunderstanding or misuse. A title, e.g. test report, calibration certificate, or report of sampling. B. The name and address of the laboratory. C. The location of performance of the laboratory activities, including when performed at a customer facility or at sites away from the laboratory's permanent facilities, or in associated temporary or mobile facilities. D. Unique identification that all its components are recognized as a portion of a complete report and a clear identification of the end. E. The name and contact information of the customer. F. Identification of the method used. G. A description, unambiguous identification, and, when necessary, the condition of the item. H. The date of the receipt of the test or calibration items and the date of sampling, where this is critical to the validity and application of the results. I. The dates of performance of the laboratory activity. J. The date of issue of the report. K. Reference to the sampling plan and sampling method used by the laboratory or other bodies where these are relevant to the validity or application of the results. L. A statement to the effect that the results relate only to the items tested, calibrated, or sampled. M. The results with, where appropriate, the units of measurement. N. Additions to, deviations, or exclusions from the method. O. Identification of the persons authorizing the report. P. Clear identification where results are from external providers. The Chapter 7 of the ISO 17025-2017 revision contains also specific requirements for test reports, specific requirements for calibration certificates, specific requirements for reporting sampling, specific requirements for reporting statements of conformity, specific requirements for reporting options and interpretations, Amendments to reports. Specific requirements for managing complaints. Specific requirements for managing non-conforming work. Specific requirements for control of data and information management. Chapter 8. Management System Requirements. 8.1.2 Option A. As a minimum, the management system of the laboratory shall address the following: Management System Documentation, see 8.2. Control of Management System Documents, see 8.3. Control of Records, see 8.4. Actions to address risks and opportunities, see 8.5. Improvement, see 8.6. Corrective actions, see 8.7. Internal audits, see 8.8. Management reviews, see 8.9. Option B. A laboratory that has established and maintains a management system in accordance with the requirements of ISO 9001 and that is capable of supporting and demonstrating the consistent fulfillment of the requirements of clauses 4 to 7 also fulfills at least the intent of the management system requirements specified in 8.2 to 8.9. That's all for now. Thank you. And if you are working on the transition to the 2017 version of the ISO 17025 standard, do not forget to take a look at our documentation solutions and download the free checklist. The link is in the description below. Thank you.